Rosh Boker or Masechet Kiddushin Daf Amud Aleph. Yeah, says the Gemara 25a1. We were just speaking about yesterday that what happens if a person is going to have an extra finger and they're going to cut it off. So he said if it's going to be extra finger and they cut it off, Eved Yotze Ben Lecherut. Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna, but it's only if it's going to be counted with the hand. Okay? Now this is where we're starting. We're starting with this story today. Save, right? This is the two dots. Okay? Save dinezunya. Okay, we're talking about Save. Remember, Save is like a Saba and Savta, right? We're talking about the elderly. So Save dinezunya. We're talking about the elders of the city of Nizunya. Lo atu lepirkei de Rav Chasta. They did not come to the shiur of Rav Chasta. Elmaleh Rav Nuna. So he told Rav Nuna, Zil, right? Saninu, right? Go as if to say, tell them that they have to stay in their houses. Put them in nidui. Yeah, imagine somebody doesn't come to shiur. What do you do to them? Nidui. Yeah, that's where he goes. So what happens? Azal, he went. And he asked them, why didn't you guys come to the shiur? Amrule, they told him, why are we going to come? Well, we asked him a question and he didn't give us an answer.
You're right.
Yeah? Amalehu, he went and he told them, he says, what, did you ever ask something and I didn't answer you? So they went and they asked,
It's a mazal Sheronen is not here today.
yeah, what happens right now if you have an Eved, that the master came, right, and he was sirso, which means that the beitzim are still connected to the kis, right, to the socket, but the master came and he cut that off. So he just, right, the testicles. Yeah, mahu. What is halacha? Does he go to cherut or not? Kemum shebagalui dami. Do you say that this is considered a sirus is like a mum galui? Because at the end of the day, since the beitzim are still tluya bakis, so you could see on the outside. So if it comes out, you should go out. Or Lord, maybe you're going to say no, that it's not considered mum shebagalui because the beitzim are covered with or, which means even though he I don't know, you can't say dislocated, but I don't know. Yeah, he castrated, no, but there's another meaning that he detached the beitzim from the thing. But at the end of the day, when you look on the outside, it's still covered in the skin. So you're right, they look like they're not attached, but at the end of the day, it's still covered in skin. Lova biyadeh, so he didn't have an answer. Samrulo, right? They told him to Rav Hamnuna, Mashemach, what's your name? Amalu Hamnuna, he said Hamnuna. Amrule, they told him, Lav Hamnuna. It's not fitting to call you Hamnuna. Ela Karnuna. They should call you like Kranot, which means that you're Yoshev Kranot. You're not a Baal Torah. So Ata leKamed Rav Chasta, so he came in front of Rav Chasta and he told him the story. Elmaleh, he went and he told him, Matznita ba'u minach. They asked you a braita. The Tanam, as we learned in a Mishnah, 24 Shevarim shebe'adam, kulam hem mitamim mishum muchya. Right? What they're not going to be mitayim, right? Because of michya. What does it mean? Of nega tzaraat. That's the kavanah of michya. Okay? Which means that if there was a nega in one of those places, it's not considered tzarata mitamet because the Rashi Varim are mushpaim from from both sides. So therefore you cannot see in one shot, right, the shiur of the nega on them, right? Just like you need for negaim, right? Because basically since it says lechol marei enei kohen, you have to be able that you have to see the entire shiur of nega bevatachat. Now these things, which are Rashi Varim, since they're mushpaim from the entire body, you cannot see it in one shot because they are influenced by other factors as well. So these are the 24 what we're talking about now. We're talking about Rashi Etzbeot Yadayim Raglayim, whether it's the fingers on the feet or the hands, Rashi Oznaim, right? Whether it's going to be on the ears, Rashi Chotem, the Af, Rosh Gviya, right? Whether it's going to be on the top of the organ, the male organ. Yeah? Rabbi Yehuda, the Rashi Dadim Shbaisha, and the top of the chest area for a woman, right? Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, Af Shabaish, even by a man, it's the same thing. Okay, that means basically the nipple parts. Okay, V'tani Alam, we learned Bikulam in all these cases. A master will go out, rather than a master, a servant, a slave will go out to freedom if this was actually done. Rabbi says, Afa Sirus, even Sirus as well. Ben Azai comes and he says, Afa Lashon, even the Lashon as well. So basically, from here you see that Rav Chasta is coming and saying that how do you see from the Braita that Sirus Eved Bebetzim is also, that was the question. So he says, Amar more, Rebbe Omer Afa Sirus, Sirus Demai. What am I talking about Sirus? If you're going to tell me Sirus Tegid, that's Rosh Agviyah. Rosh Agviyah is Rosh Agid. So he's on the top of the male organ where you have the crown. So Elalav, Sirus Beitzim. We're talking about the Sirus of the Beitzim. And that's already enough of the testicles. And that's already enough to be considered a Sirus. And therefore, he's going out free. Okay? Fine. Rebbe Omer, Rebbe comes and he says, Afa Sirus, even a Sirus, you're going to go out free. Yeah? You're going to go out free. Okay? So he comes and he says like this. Rebbe Lashon Lo. Right? You're going to tell me that according to Rebbe, Lashon Lo, that means basically the Lashon, the tongue, is not considered a mum sheba galui, and therefore you don't go out free. Imagine somebody comes and he takes not only just the phone, but the tongue. Yeah? So what's going to happen? We have a contradiction. Yeah? If somebody's going to be mazeh, the mechatat, remember the mechatat is the water of the paraduma, mixed with the waters of the mechatat, and then you sprinkle it on a person that became tamemet. And it is al piv, and it went on the mouth of the tameh. Rebbe says, hiza, it's considered azak shera, because the peh is davar galui. Chachamim say, lo hiza, he didn't. Why? Right? Because it's mashma, but it's not galui. So my lover, you're not telling me now, al-lishono, when it said on his mouth, it meant on his tongue? And says, no, on sfatav, on his lips. That's the question, on the lips. Okay? So says the Gemara al sfatav, shita, obviously it's a good, why? Because for sure that the lips is considered something which is revealed. So says the Gemara, I would have thought to say, zimna dechalim sifte, sometimes the lips are attached, meaning when you close your mouth, so they're covered. So therefore I would say that it's going to be considered covered. Kamash comes to teach you know that it's still considered something which is galui. So ask the Gemara, we learned on Braita al lishono, which means that if it's going to go on its lashon, right, and still that's what we're talking about. And we also learned the shinitar rova lashon. If it's going to be taken the majority of the lashon, it's going to be pasul for bringing as a korban. Rabbi Omer rova mdaber b'lishono. We're talking about the rov of the chelek of the lashon, which is not connected to the mouth. We're not talking about the entire bit. The lashon is very long. You ever had tongue of an animal? It's very, very long. Also, the human being. The human being, the tongue is very, very long. The only part that you see is the front part that comes out. But really, be'emet, the tongue is long. So he says it has to be rov hamdaber b'lishono, which means rov chelek melashon, which is not davuk lapeh. That's called the rov hamdaber, one that's usually used for speech. Ela Rabbi Omer, Rabbi says sirus, right? We're talking about now also by sirus beitzim, velomi by lishon. We're not talking about another lashon. Nazai Omer lashon, aval besirus lo. He said no, the lashon it is because it's megule legamre, but the sirus beitzim no. Umay af, and what does it mean? Also af, as it said, right? We're talking about over there, right? That he comes and Ben Azai says af, so he comes and he says akamait on the first one. So says the Gemara Yehachiv. So naktema the Ben Azai b'reisha. So why didn't you put Ben Azai before the words of Rabbi? So therefore you come and you have the entire Braita. So at the beginning, Ben Azai was coming and he was adding on to the words of Tanakama, and then afterwards, Rabbi is coming and adding on the words of Ben Azai, meaning each one is coming and is adding. Okay? So he comes and he says, Tana Shamal de Rabbi. So the Tana first taught us the Halacha of Rabbi, the Kav'ah, and then he came and he put it after Tanakama. And then Shamad Ben Azai, then he heard of Ben Azai, Vitani, and then he taught it. Which means like this. You're right that if I'm going to come and I'm going to prepare a Mishnah, so I have three different opinions. I've got what David said, then I got what Eitan says, and then I got what Ronan says. Each one added on. So when we're talking about the adding on, so you're right. When we're talking about the concept of adding on, so what we're going to say is, I'm going to say, he said A, he also said B, and then he also said C. I'm going to add it on. The problem was, it didn't go like that. What happened is that I heard the words of David first. And then I heard the words of Ronan. So when I said David and then Ronan, and Ronan added on to David, then I heard Eitan's words. So the fact that I went and I heard Eitan's words last, even though technically speaking, I should have put it one after another in the bigger chidush, meaning I would have said 1, 2, and 3. I didn't do that. I said 1, 3, and 2. But why did I do that? Because I heard 1 first, and then I heard 3. So I put 1 and 3. When I heard the last one, which is yours, technically should have gone in the middle, but I'm not going to change a Mishnah. Mishnah lo zaza mitima. I'm not going to change that. I just left it there. Okay? Amar Ula. Ula comes and he says, Hakol Modim, everybody agrees. Ben Lashon, right? Ben Lashon, when we're talking about the Lashon, Linyan Tum'ah, to do with the Tum'ah, Tegaluyu etzel sheretz. It's considered galui by a sheretz, which means that can it be mekabel Tum'ah? Yes, because it's revealed. My tama, what's the reasoning? Because it says that it's going to touch it. By now, you could touch the tongue. Meaning, when you come and you take the tongue out of your mouth, you could touch it. So it's something which is galui, which could become mekabel Tum'ah. Again, we're talking about the tongue. Okay? Linyan tevilah, to do a tevilah, ketamundami, it's considered covered in the body, in the body, which means that even though the water went on the entire body, but it didn't go in your tongue, meaning you don't have to go into the mikveh and open up your mouth. Why not? Hey, if it's something which is galui, you should open in your mouth, have the water come in, and you don't need to do that. It's considered tamun. My tamun's reasoning that right, you have to wash your flesh in water, just like the basar, the flesh is on the outside, so to anything which is on the outside, and the tongue is on the outside, on the inside. So what is machloket? If to do with tevilah, the tongue is considered inside, internal, and therefore you don't have to open up your mouth when you go to do tevilah. But to do with the concept of tum'at sheretz, it's considered revealed, because sometimes it's revealed and therefore it could become tameh. So what is the machloket between them? Haza'ah, to do with hazah, sprinkling. Why? Rabbi the tumah. Rabbi compares it to tumah, and Rabbanan are comparing it to tevilah, which means like this. We've got two different extremes. To do with tum'ah, the tongue is considered exposed and therefore becomes tameh. To do with tevilah, the tongue is considered covered and therefore you don't have to open up your mouth in order that the water gets to it. So the Gemara asks, what is haza'ah? Is haza'ah like tevilah, or is haza'ah like tum'ah? That's the question. Okay, again, we're always talking about the tongue. We didn't move. We're always about the tongue. The question is, what is the tongue to do with haza'ah sprinkling? Is it considered like tum'ah, which means that it's going to be revealed, or is it considered like tevilah, it's going to be covered? So says the Gemara, Rabbi is comparing it to tum'ah, right? And therefore it's davar shebegalui, and Rabbanan says it's going to be like tevilah, so it's davar shebenistar. The Tarvayu back, and they both argue in this pasuk. The pasuk says, you're going to sprinkle on the third and the seventh day. Okay, he says, Rabbi Savar, because when the word v'chiteo is nidrash beforehand on the tameh v'chiteo, which means that the chitui is bechol makom baguf, which is ra'ui for kabbalat tum'ah, and therefore, since Rabbi says it's compared to tum'ah, so tum'ah it's considered something revealed. So the tongue is considered something revealed, and therefore, if you sprinkle the waters of the chatat on the tongue, you're okay. Rabbanan hold that the chiteo is on the next part. It's the comma the chiteo depends where you put the pasek. You heard? Look how important is a pasek. Depends where you put the pasek, changes the entire meaning of the pasuk. Kids learned the pasek after. Right before the word v'chiteo, there was a pasek. Therefore, the word v'chiteo is bayom hashvi'i v'chibes begdav v'rachatz b'mayim. Yeah, he comes and he says, so therefore, it comes out that since the rabbis are coming, right, and they're saying v'chiteo is on the seventh day, and it's going to be v'chibes begdav v'rachatz b'mayim. So therefore, what happens is v'chiteo v'rachatz. So it has to do with like rechitza, like tevilah. So therefore, he's comparing the haza'ah like the tevilah. So just like tevilah, what is the tongue? What is the tongue for tevilah?
It's concealed. It's not revealed.
So to do tevilah, it's concealed, which means not revealed, which means you don't have to open up your mouth. So same thing with the hazah. If you're going to sprinkle on the tongue, it's a klum. Okay. The Rabbanan nami, and according to the rabbis, yeah, he comes and he says like this. According to the Rabbanan, what is he going to say now? So the Rabbanan nami nidam letumah. Why doesn't the Rabbanan then actually come and compare it to tum'ah? Which means that just like by tum'ah it's considered revealed, so too it should be revealed. It says tara mitara. It's better to learn tara mitara than learning tara mitum'ah. Meaning it's just much better, much preferable to learn from purity instead of purity from impurity. The things which are impure, you leave them on the side, right? Things which are pure, you come and you don't want mixing. There's no mixing. Yeah, we have to make a pasek between them. I have sek. The Rabbi, the damile tefillah. So why don't Rabbi come and he say that it's going to be domel tefillah? So he says, "V'chibes begadav yifsik ha'inyan." He says, right? The Rebbe comes and he says that since v'chibes begadav is a pasek, so therefore since it's a ifsek, so he comes and he says, so that's why we're going to say that v'chiteo and rechatz is two separate things. They're not together. So you're not comparing the tevilah to the hazah. So says the Gemara, "V'savar Rebbe linyan tevilah b'ketamud." Are you going to tell me that according to Rebbe it's considered tamud? Right? That's what you're saying. According to Rebbe, tevilah is considered tamud. So Zavamar Ravin Amar Ravada Bar Ava Amar Yitzchak. Says Ravin the name of Ravada Amar Yitzchak. Maaseh b'shivcha shel Bet Rebbe. There was a story of the shivcha of Bet Rebbe. Shetavla ve'alta v'nimtza etzem ben shnei. Do you know she went down to the mikveh? She came up, and all of a sudden she went and she saw that there was an etzem ben shnei. There was a bone in between her teeth.
Between the teeth.
Yes, right, and therefore, right, which means that this could be the tevilah, because again they are shayachim to tuma v'tara, and that's besides even the first tevilah also, that's how he makes her into an, Eved Kanani and Shivcha Kananit and all these things, right?
She realized she has a bone, last second?
No, she comes up and then she goes, oh, 1 second, I've got something stuck in between my teeth. So he comes and he says, V'tzricha Rebbe tefillah acheret. Rebbe comes and he says, you have to do another tefillah. Women have to check. Women have to come and they have to, that's a chatzitza. In between the teeth, it's a chatzitza. They have to use dental floss. They have to use dental floss. They come, they have to cut the nails, make sure everything's this, that. They have a whole shalachos. Right? Yeah, they have to make sure that everything is clean.
Now, as the man, we just jump
animals going in. Yeah, you're right. So says the Gemara, right? He comes and he says, just like biat mayim you don't need, but you need a place which is fitting for it, which means like this. I'm going to ask you a question. When you go into the mikveh, do you have to open up the mouth?
The what?
Do you have to open up the mouth?
No.
So if you don't have to open the mouth, what do I care that there's a little tiny bone or anything stuck in between the teeth?
Exactly.
The answer is, right? Another question.
If you had to open the mouth.
Can you go into the mikveh with eye contacts? Contact lenses?
Yes.
No. Right? And the question is, do you have to open up your eyes? No. So what is the yesod? The yesod is it has to be ra'ui lavo l'biyat mayim. Why? Like Rabbi Zera. There's a very famous yesod in all of the Gemara. You could learn it 1,000,000 times. Tamar Rabbi Zera, kol ra'ui l'bila em bila me'akevet bo, she'enu ra'ui l'bila bila me'akevet bo, which means like this. As long as it's going to be fitting for biyat mayim, so you don't need to do it. But if it's not fitting, so then it's a hefsek, which means like this. Right now, if she goes into the mikveh,
if you had to open the mouth,
if you had to open up the eyes, would it go to your eyes? Yes, because you're not wearing contact lenses. Okay. So therefore, it's going to be kosher even if you don't open up the eyes. But if you would have opened up the eyes, there would have been a chatzitza, because you have your contact lenses. So now, when you don't open up the eyes, it is a chatzitza, because it's not fitting for the bilah, which means it's not fitting. So the same thing, right? Over here. She doesn't have to open up the mouth. But the fact that if she would have opened up the mouth, there is a chatzitza, that's considered now a chatzitza, and therefore you need that it has to go into the mouth. Okay?
Because the mouth, she's not coming out.
Why? You're going to mouth 1 second and you go out. Right? Kafeh Amud Bet. Yeah, 25b. So says the Gemara, Ketanaim, really be'emet, it's going to be a machloket Tanaim, whether sirus beitzim is considered, right, amun galui or not. So it's a machloket Tanaim, whether the testicles are considered right galui or not galui. Right, but again, when we started coming to with all the other halachot to do with what's considered galui, is the tongue, is it this, is that, fine. Says the Gemara, he says for a man, testicles, right? Umauch vechatut, venatuk vecharut, kulan beveitzim. We're talking about in the beitzim. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda, which means when it says that it's going to be crushed or cut or all these things, or all these things are talking about the beitzim also. The beitzim v'lo bebigid. It says we're talking about the beitzim or not the gid. Ella, but rather kularaf beitzim. All of them are also meaning it's not only just in the organ, meaning the the organ with the crown on the top. Even in the testicles as well, it's also going to be the same thing, right? Even Rabbi Yehuda, these words are Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says kulam begid. No, it's all in the gid. Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yosef says mauch vekatut are also in the beitzim. Natuk vekarut are only in the gid and not in the beitzim. Okay, how do you translate literally each one? Mauch vekatut. Mauch is like crushed, no? You have the English.
Scrambled.
Broken and cut. Another two.
It's considered blemish. 1 second.
Squashed,
like
crushed,
cut.
torn, or
This is
severe. Here.
Natuk vekarut. Here you have it. It says over here.
Crushed
Squashed, crushed, torn, or severed.
or scrambled.
Yeah?
That's a citizen.
He likes his sunny to side up. Okay. So he says here that it's going to be, right? Natuk vikarut begidiin bebetzim lo. Okay, that's how we finish until the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah. Okay, Kafeh Amud Bet 25b. Be'ema gasa. Yeah, we're talking about now be'ema gasa. How do you acquire be'ema gasa? So it's b'mesira. Yeah, I give him over. Right? When you give him over to the wife, now she acquired the be'ema gasa. Right? Nikret b'mesira is going to be acquired by mesira. The daka. He says, what about be'ema daka? He says bagba. You pick it up. But since it's a smaller animal, it's a small animal. I said, be'ema daka. Which one? Be'ema daka are the small little sheep, these little things, the little animals. Right? These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Eliezer says, these are the words of Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Eliezer. Chachamim say, be'ema daka nikre b'meshicha. Be'ema daka, you do meshicha. Meshicha is pulling it towards you. Okay? And not like what we said before, that it's going to be hagba'ah. So let's see the Gemara. Okay? Says the Gemara. Darash Rav Bekimchunya. So Rav came and he expounded in the city of Kimchunya. Be'ema gasa niknet b'meshicha. Be'ema gasa is going to be acquired with meshicha. Okay? Ashkechinu Shmuel Talmidei Rav. So Shmuel found the Talmidim of Rav. Amar Leu, and he told them, Mi amar Rav, does Rav actually say be'ema gasa niknet b'meshicha? Be'ema gasa is going to be acquired with meshicha. V'anan b'mesirat. We learned that it was going to be done with mesira. Right? What does that mean, mesira? We're talking about mesira, not a meshicha. Mesira is giving over. Meshicha is pulling towards you. Rav also said it. So he says, you're right. Are you going to tell me now that Rav retracted? Which means that he retracted from that which he said. So says the Gemara, it's true. He said like this. Then we learned it right. Chachamim say, Zo vezo, doesn't matter whether it's be'ema gasa or daka, it's the same halacha. Right? Shos niknet b'meshicha. You do meshicha. You pull towards you. Yeah? When I pull towards you, I just acquired it. Rabbi Shimon says, Zo vezo b'agba. No, agba for both of them. Whether it's a be'ema gasa, pick it up.
What's the
difference?
How do you make a
Go to on him.
Exactly. Go do a,
Yeah, lift me.
yeah, go do agba. Yeah.
Try.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it. So the question is, how do you do the what's it called? That's, by the way, just shows you the miracle of Aaron HaKohen.
Which is?
Aaron HaKohen, the day of the inauguration of the Kohanim, he lifted up 22,000 Kohanim.
What?
22,000. And he did the, how do you call them? He did the one by one.
Okay.
Yeah, but picking you up, 22,000 like you.
But they were not on it for 2 weeks before.
Yeah, no panic. Yeah, fine. Mat Kifla Rav Yosef. Yeah, says Rav Yosef. He asked the following question: Ela me'ata pil Rav Shimon. How are you going to acquire the pil? Yeah, if we were talking about before the be'ema gasa, what about a pil now? Exactly. Yeah. So he says, Elmaleh Abaye says the khalifin. You do khalifin. Yeah, he says inami, right? Exactly, we exchange. Or inami v'socheret mekomo. You rent out its place. So I'm going to say, okay, this tile is now rented to me, and now the pil becomes mine.
I didn't say
Like
focus.
Yeah. So that's called socheret mekomo. You do that, by the way, for selling your chametz. Yeah, you do that as well. Yeah. So the Rabbi comes and he says, Mevi arba kelim, you're going to bring 4 kelim, and you put it underneath his utensils, underneath his legs. Okay, and therefore, right, when he's standing in these four kelim, it's considered that he's standing in your property. Okay, Shema Mina, we learn from here. That the utensils of the lokeach in the property of the mocher, kana lokeach. That's a proof. We're talking about Tzidei Reshut Harabim. And since we're talking about Tzidei Reshut Harabim, right, En Reshut En Harabim Ovim Bo Tadim. Okay, and therefore you